does require stamina.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. A
so.
good cardio is a must if you are not single, and even if you are single, you don't want to have bad cardio. No, no, you don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're live with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. Those of you who are joining us, we have this is a free topic day. We got some interesting topics for today. Nothing that's going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe this, but it's going to be like, oh, that's I wasn't aware. That's some interesting stuff right there.
Sorry, what was that?
We've got some interesting stuff to discuss. Mainly, we're going to be talking about um, two topics. Starfield comes out tomorrow. For those of you who bought it early, um, I'm an insane person, so I bought mine early. Um,
Yeah.
Cause I'm crazy like that.
Yeah.
Actually, to be completely 100% honest,
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to get it early, just because I just want to get it early because I know Bethesda is going to have the Creation Club in it, so that they can nickel and dime people, and I refused. So I got the deluxe edition on Steam.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, I'm just gonna pay the dollar and get the. Microsoft pulled that shit.
Yeah.
They're like hell you
Yeah.
are, and I can't blame
Yep.
them. I
No
really can't.
doubt. Oh.
No, go ahead.
No, it's like that's funny. That's just funny.
I mean, this is the first big game that Microsoft has had this console gen that
Yeah.
has to go off very well because let's not forget, um, they messed up Halo Infinite,
Yeah.
right? They messed up Gears of War. They messed up
Yeah.
Fable. I mean, this is kind of turning into, hey, Microsoft, you done fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? The only thing I'll
Yeah.
say Microsoft didn't fuck up on is that their backwards compatibility puts the other two console manufacturers to shame. Like,
Yeah.
because Nintendo dropped the ball this gen on backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
Not only did they drop the ball, they took it and they flushed it down a toilet. An overflown toilet that someone hadn't flushed before, and it was filled with bangers and mash. They put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know, man. So they kind of need this win, if you get what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Where did you get your? Did you actually get it from Steam, or did you get one of those CD house key
No,
deals?
no, man. I bought it off of Steam for
Uh,
$99.
um.
I I paid the full price because I was like, I could have gone through the gray market with CD keys, but um, this is the first time Bethesda has made a new um IP in a long time,
Yeah.
and I decided to reward them for it.
Okay.
I was like, you know what? Why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's actually reward good behavior for once. For once. with this company. Because normally they'd be fucking up. Because remember, the last game Bethesda came out with, Bethesda proper, was Fallout 76. And Fallout 76 is, how can I put this nicely without sounding like a dick? It's hot buttered ass.
Yeah.
Fallout 76 is terrible. Fallout 76 is what you should not be doing when you make a game.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Fallout 76, like imagine this, okay? Imagine if Nintendo made a 2D single player Mario game, right? Or at least, they're like Mario Wonder. Okay, you think it's going to be a 2D single player or, couch co-op Mario game. And they're like, "Oh, no, 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 no. It's a multiplayer game with tons of microtransactions." And people be like, "Fuck you." Oh, well, maybe not, because these Nintendo fans will take anything. They'll bend over and say, "Go ahead, stick it in. I don't care."
Yeah.
Nintendo!
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem with the, Nintendo fans. They were so against what Microsoft and Sony were doing back during last gen, and then all of a sudden Nintendo said, "Hey, maybe we can do that too," and then they ended up doing it. And they defended it. I found it funny that people were vehemently defending Nintendo charging for online pay. Well, it's not as expensive as the other
Yeah.
two.
But now it
Weren't you
is.
guys against
Yeah,
paying for online though back in the day?
I don't know about you, but I remember when they started charging for online, I was like, this is a slippery slope. And I guarantee eventually they're going to jack the price up to where it's commensurate to what you're paying for the other systems, but it's going to be shitty. And I'll be goddamn if I was right.
Yeah.
I called it. I looked into the eyes of the abyss, and the abyss stared back. And I knew what it was because I know companies.
Yeah.
Okay? Same thing with Pokemon. Remember Pokemon? Remember how the online remember how the online for Pokemon used to be like $5?
Yeah.
And $5 is not, that's not a exorbitant fee to pay.
Yeah.
Like if someone said, "Hey, it's $5 a year to just hold some data," I'm like, "Oh, that's actually fairly decent." And then they dropped it, and now it's like $20 a year, or maybe even 30. I can't. It's some ridiculous amount of money, and I'm like, "This is." And I was talking with a coworker of mine. I was like, "That's not. It used to be $5, and now it's like $20 or $30. You don't see the problem with that." They're like, "Oh, that's a small amount of pay." I'm like, "That's not the point. The point is that they raised the price exorbitantly. Like it's a 300% price increase." And no, $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 300. It's a 300%. No, $5 to $20. That's a 400% price increase. And like no one, like we're not gonna talk about this. We're just gonna let this slide, huh?
Yeah.
But hey, man, what do I know? But you have anything to say?
No, not particularly.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, I paid the $99 on Steam for the deluxe edition with all of the extra shit. All the cool little
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna wait until September 5th to play it on Game Pass.
I don't think it's going to be on Game Pass though, or it might. I don't know. I don't.
No, it's on Game Pass. You just gotta wait till September 5th when it
Really,
comes
that's what
out.
they did. They were like, you gotta kind of sort of do some shit.
Yeah, they're trying to. It's like they're charging people who are on Game Pass. It's like you can play it, but you gotta pay $30 extra if you want to play it early. It's like might as well just buy the game
Yeah, that's what I did. I just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy it. And I know what some people say. What do you mean? Why'd you just buy the game? Because I want to mod the shit out of it, and I don't think you can really mod Game Pass games. I'm not
then.
entirely sure, but I'm relatively certain that they kind of. I think they kind of keep you, you know. But that's my opinion. You have any thoughts on that?
No, except hopefully it's good. I've actually never been excited for a Bethesda game. I thought their gameplay always looked boring and stiff, and
It is.
this game.
No, 100%. Like basically, the thing about Bethesda games is that it's always the idea of what the game can do if you apply it, the logic within game. So like Daggerfall, it's the idea of being in this fantastical world where it's a like uh, Daggerfall is a medieval fantasy life simulator.
Yeah.
Like you can literally just fuck all and just not do any of the main quest and just live your life. Become a guild member of the Fighters Guild and level up in that, rank up in that until you're like high up in the ranks, or become a magician, or become a thief, or it's like wow, this is nice, and take on quests and all this type of cool shit. It's like oh wow, I don't have to do any of this. Like imagine a D&D style universe with its own unique lore that's not tied to D&D by and large, where you can be whatever you want or do whatever you want to do. And that's the
Mm.
interesting thing about Daggerfall. Morrowind was more story based. The story was more focused. Morrowind was uh, there's this prophecy that this a great wrong that was done can be undone, and your character might be the chosen one. But here's the thing, right? There's been dozens of people before you who might have been the chosen one who failed in their quests.
Yeah.
Like there's a point in Morrowind where you go to where to the area where the quest starts to really take off to become the chosen one to save Morrowind and undo a great wrong. And literally there's these ghosts of people who almost who were on the quest too earlier before you and failed, and they're sitting there like, yeah, we died. How's it going, boy? Or person, whoever you are. It's like, wow, that's an interesting concept. Oblivion. Um, Oblivion had something similar where like the central conceit of Oblivion is that like you're not the chosen one. You're not the person who saves the world. You're the helper for the chosen one who saves the world.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like imagine if you had a Batman game where you played where everything was from the point of view of Robin. That's basically, yeah. The best way I could describe it. Have you ever heard of Big Trouble in Little China?
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the central conceit of Big Trouble in Little China is that Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell, it's told from the point of view of Jack Burton. But here's the thing: Jack Burton is not the hero. He doesn't get the girl. He does kill the main villain, but completely by accident. Like it's a fluke that he does it. Right? like he is not the main character. Imagine a comic book, a movie told from the point of view of the guy who's the sidekick. And that is the hilarious thing about Big Trouble in Little China. It's like, wow, this is an interesting central conceit.
Yeah.
But, to each his own.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the melancholy of poverty season me it is. You're in the it's from the perspective of essentially the sidekick.
Yeah.
But that's I always find interesting. It's a way to kind of switch things up again. So
Yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing about, really good, like, however, unfortunately, like I was about to say, eventually what wound up happening is Todd Howard took over, and Todd Howard, quote unquote, streamlined, uh, the gameplay. So you went from having this complex, like, if you've played Skyrim, Skyrim is very like it is this power fantasy where your character is the Dragonborn and you can do everything, even within its own universe, it doesn't make sense. Like for example, in Skyrim, you can become the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, of the college, the College of Mages in Winterhold, despite knowing
yeah,
very little about magic,
yeah,
which is embarrassing. It's like, you, sir, are our chief surgeon, but I don't know anything about surgery. Doesn't matter. You're the chief surgeon. Like, that's stupid. And yet you can do that in Skyrim. Um, because you're the Dragonborn. You basically wind up becoming the leader of the Fighters Guild in Skyrim, which is called something different, but it's functionally the Fighters Guild. Not because you necessarily have really good fighting skills or your fighting ability is at that level, but because you go on a quest to free the leader of the Fighters Guild from being cursed by lycanthropy, and he makes you the guild leader when he moves on. It's like this stupid shit, right? Like, Skyrim is streamlined, and they basically don't want you to miss out on any experience. But that's the joy of role playing a video game, is that you can't be an almighty character. There's points where you can fuck up and do things incorrectly. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, it's like, oh, I'm playing as a magic user, as a magician. So my melee abilities are going to be kind of shit.
yeah.
But whatever. You have any thoughts on this?
Um, I would never, some of the lore I've heard about, some of the Oblivion games seems interesting, but the execution just seems a little,
Janky?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, that's true. It is. The issue with Bethesda games is the ideas behind a lot of it is like, oh, this is amazing. The execution, mm,
yeah,
the execution has been and has always been. That's where modding comes in. That's why you mod the shit out of them, because modding can make that jankiness. It's still jank, but it can smooth out some of those rough edges from being a jagged point that'll stab you to just being a little rough. It's like, yeah, I can get past that. Um, Hence why, it's what makes it fun.
yeah.
But that's my own personal opinion. Um, Anything else you want to add before we move on to the next topic?
Um, no,
All right. Um. So, next topic is something near and dear to my heart. Um, which is, as you may or may not know about me, I am a huge Legend of Zelda fan. Love the franchise. Love most of the games. I've played and beaten most of the Legend of Zelda games. The only Legend of Zelda game I have not beaten is, or at least the only Legend of Zelda games I haven't beaten are the Japan only ones. The Japan only, like, really weird spin offs that were only on the Satellaview. But the other ones I have played. Even some of the Japanese only ones like Tingle's Quest. Played that. Liked it. Um, Other stuff like that. So I'm one of those people who was really excited about, not shit, what was the fuck it's called? Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Well, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, not so much. I was like, this seems like it's just gonna be more of
Breath of
what
the
we already
Wild.
what.
Nor Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, more Breath of the Wild, and unfortunately, Breath of the Wild really like. I remember playing that game and I was like, I wasn't really enjoying it. Um, I thought Breath of the Wild has a lot of really good ideas, but none of which are very well executed. Um,
Yeah.
like I found the combat for Breath of the Wild to be janky as fuck, and I know some people are gonna get mad that when I say that, like, oh, what do you mean it was amazing? I'm like, eh. I'm sorry, I did not find the combat to be amazing. I thought it was janky as fuck. Um, I know some people will disagree, and that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
But, you know, like the combat in Breath of the Wild, just like. And the reason I felt that the combat was janky as fuck is because it never got. Like, the combat never. Like, the enemies weren't really. The enemies were following a script on how they acted. And the difficulty of fights wasn't in, oh, this enemy's using new patterns. It was like, oh, this enemy is a bullet spun is a tank. So like this enemy is a different color than what they normally had, and instead of me actually just like instead of this enemy taking 3 or 4 hits from my powerful weapon, it takes like 8, and my weapon is damn near destroyed because this enemy I'm using up the stamina level of my weapon.
Yeah.
But to each his own. Also the lack of traditional dungeons, kind of in both games, kind of like made me just be like, that defeated sigh.
Yeah.
I was like, well,
I'm married. I don't have kids. My life is based in.
but how do you feel about it? Agree, disagree, don't care? Not an issue for you?
No, the thing I like the Breath of the Wild stuff, but um, I was with all the games that have come out lately. I've just had games that are that have kept my attention a little bit more. Um, Mostly been playing it through emulation, so I've also just been waiting for stuff to, especially with Tears of the Kingdom, stuff to get more patches and stuff like that.
Oh,
Make things
really?
a little bit
It
more smooth.
it's a little janky.
So it's no janky. It's not terrible. It's definitely playable.
It's better than
But
Breath of the
you know,
Wild.
yeah, yeah. Um,
That's fair.
uh,
I do not have that issue. For me, Breath of the Wild is one of those. For me, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I played it and I was like, I see what like if they made a Legend of Zelda game that used this engine but had the more traditional stuff from previous games in it, it would probably be my favorite Legend of Zelda game of all time. Unfortunately, they threw the baby out with the bathwater.
yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is, what it is, what it is. But with that being said, to segue into what this topic is about, so I said to myself, what would be my ultimate Legend of Zelda game? Or your ultimate Legend of Zelda game? Because no game is perfect. Uh, you know, there's always there's always something where it's like, this is not really my ultimate. This isn't my, you know, if I had my druthers. So, if you had your druthers, what would be the general premise of your ultimate Legend of Zelda game?
Um, a little bit of Breath of the Wild, a little bit of traditional uh, Zelda games. Um, Basically, not getting everything at once, but leaving things open ended enough that you're clever enough, you can possibly get to a particular area without a particular device. Uh, you can either play it linearly, or it or it be open ended, um, and probably a more uh, yeah. Obviously, you'd also have a story to it. I feel like the story of Zelda and Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom is a little bit better story wise, but definitely, uh, offer various different choices for different outcomes. Uh, Expand upon the because there's parts in Tears of the Kingdom where you can help out some of the monster hunters and get rupees for that. Maybe expand upon that for certain quests and certain missions where you can, even like base build or something like that.
I'd be cool with that. Kind of like how in Breath of the Wild you could build that city. I mean, build
Yeah,
that town
yeah.
and get a
I also,
house. I mean, eventually it didn't really amount to much, but the idea was cool.
yeah. Also, with the weapon system, have weapon degradation, but also have the ability to prevent it, to upgrade your weapons and to make them stronger and more powerful and even less resistant
You mean more
to
resistant to degradation?
yeah.
I have a solution to that. What if they made a Legend of Zelda game where weapons had like the quality of the manufacturer equals how it degrades. So, like, you have 5 tiers. Let's say poor, common, good, and above that, excellent. Then above, like say poor, good, um, excellent. Then above that, mastercrafted, and then legendary. So like everything from excellent down goes down in quality as you use it.
Yeah.
And then you can because in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, you collect a lot of useless shit. Or at least like it's like once you get better ingredients to make stuff, it's like, I have tons of shit that's utterly useless now because I can make a better version of it. So you can take that stuff and make a weapon repair kit and use it to repair your weapon. Now, of course, your weapon repair kit is never going to be able to repair something to 100%. Maybe there's a side quest you can do that'll like a blacksmithing side quest where you help a blacksmith and they give you where you can make weapon repair kits that can actually get it to 100%, maybe above 100%, make it better than it was before. However, mastercrafted and legendary weapons. Mastercrafted weapons you find in dungeons. This gives you an incentive to go into dungeons and find the treasure chests because mastercrafted weapons don't degrade. They're mastercrafted. They never degrade.
Yeah.
However, in order to upgrade a mastercrafted weapon, it's very expensive. Right? Yeah. Like you might have to. It's not only is it expensive monetarily, but you got to find bits and bobs and shit that are like, oh man, I had to kill like 100 poes to get enough material to upgrade this staff. Yeah. This mastercrafted staff. But it was worth it because now I can shoot 3 fireballs at once.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have legendary weapons. Legendary weapons, I would think would be your shit like your Master Sword, your Bigoron Sword, shit like that. Like basically mastercrafted weapons, legendary weapons are top tier. Like you get them, you feel like you got to go through a massive quest to get the weapon, and then if you want to upgrade it, it's not even something you can upgrade via just killing certain amounts of enemies or finding shit to take to a blacksmith. Mastercrafted weapon, legendary weapons, there's like a quest associated with powering them up.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to use the Master Sword as an example because the Master Sword is in almost every goddamn Legend of Zelda. It's almost in every Legend of Zelda game. Let's say you get the Master Sword, you go to the Kokiri Woods or the Lost Woods, and you get the Master Sword, and it's like level 2 at that point. It's more powerful than your basic weapon, but it's not what it should or could be. You want to get that thing powered up all the way, there's like a quest chain that you have to do that's going to be difficult, but worth it in the end, because by the end of the game, you're going to have a weapon that's like, if not the most powerful weapon in the game, it's like a step below it.
Yeah.
Because the Master Sword in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom feels underpowered. Even when they're like, well, let's power it up, and it's in its powered up state because you're facing the evil. It's like, it's only doing 60 base damage. If I use the Barbarian Axe with Devil Horn attached to it does like 180. So I feel like I'm getting cheated a little bit here.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting screwed a little bit. So yeah, I would say something like that would make Legend of Zelda into perhaps one of the I think that would go a long way to kind of making it better. Agree, disagree? Have a counter argument?
I agree. I agree.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. As far as dungeons go, I would love a return of like like, I think you could have the best of both worlds. I think you could have like dungeons that are you know, like handcrafted, and then have like smaller and medium sized you know, like you do whatever you want dungeons, you know what I mean?
What was that? Sorry.
I said they should go back to having dungeon. They could have a mix between the handcrafted dungeons they've had in past games and then like these open air puzzle dungeons that they had in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd be cool with that. Any other thoughts before we move on to the final topic, sir?
No.
All right. With that being said, I guess it's time to move on to the final part of our cast, which is free topic, aka hot take. This is where we basically give a we either bring up a topic that we think that people should know about or we want to talk about, expound upon, and then hot take, where we give an unpopular take on a particular topic in the video game community. Do you have a free topic you want to bring up? Something you're like, why aren't more people talking about this? They should be talking about this, damn it.
Let's see. Well, apparently Linus made his plans and what he was going to do with the no, I don't want to talk about that. Apparently Sony fanboys have been getting mad about Baldur's Gate 3 no longer being a timed exclusive, so they had to come up with another excuse with the Xbox Series S not being able to do not being able to do crossplay, but not crossplay, but split screen. Sorry. So it's just like, why do you guys make this stuff such a focal point of your life?
Well, you know the answer to that, because they have nothing else. If they had something else, they'd be playing their games. Not worrying about whether or not... Like, here's the thing, okay? The fact of the matter is that, as you intimated, is that they're losing exclusives. Okay? Like, that's just that's just kind of like, that's the devil's in the details, but they're losing exclusives. Even their first party games are coming to PC.
Yeah.
Not immediately, not day and date, but I guarantee that Wolverine will probably come to PC in 2 years.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm not like, you know, I have a PS4. I've played it. I've turned it on maybe 4 times. I haven't turned my Switch on since I played and beat Tears of the Kingdom. So, a few months ago. Before that, I hadn't touched it for a year and a half. So, most of my gaming these days is done on PC. So, believe me when I say, like, and here's the thing, and people are like, oh, that means you haven't been playing games. No, most of my games on PC. I have tons of games on PC. I recently, earlier today, was playing 30XX, which is the best damn Mega Man X game I've played in 2 decades. Yes.
Yeah, I heard that.
No, go ahead, Kenoshi.
Yeah, I heard. Wait, is that that's the sequel?
That's
right?
the sequel. 20XX is the game that is the first game. 30XX is the sequel to that. If 20XX is Mega Man X, 30XX is the Mega Man X's that came on the PS1, but done well with cell shaded, pixelized graphics. Like it, like you know the like where Capcom fucked up with Mega Man X, where they were like, oh, we have CDs, so we're gonna make it 3D, and the 3D sprites look like shit. I mean, those games do not look good. Really, I think the best artwork in the Mega Man 2D Mega Man series was when it went to the DS and the Game Boy, like the Mega Man Zero series, stuff like that, where the artwork was like kind of like a fusion between 3D and 2D sprites, which is what 30XX uses. You have two playable characters. They each play differently. You've got Ace and Nina. Nina plays like X. Ace plays like Zero. I've been playing as Ace because I like the idea of going up to an enemy and fucking them up with a sword, with an energy blade.
Yeah.
I mean, Nina's great if you like playing as basically X from Mega Man. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, these days I'm kind of more of a Zero guy than an X guy. But, you know, sometimes I split between the two. But, yeah, you know, it's amazing. I've been playing that. I've been playing War Tales, which is like a dark fantasy, like Battle Brothers, but with more tactical. Like on like not an isometric field, but like a traditional field. It's like Fire Emblem with permadeath. You can lose party members and shit. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Blaster Master Zero. I recently got back into GTA 5, the single player, because I'm not spending a fucking dime on their multiplayer. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition. I have tons of games. Look, listen. I have 10, 15, 18, 20 something, 18, 22, 32, 33, 38, 38 plus 52. I gotta get my calculator out. Let's see. 38 plus 52. 90 plus 187. 277 plus 173. $450. Plus 104. Okay, I'm not calculating all this. Basically, I have a lot of games on Steam alone. All right, a lot of games, and that's just Steam. Like, I'm not counting all the shit I have on Amazon Games Prime that I get through Twitch Prime, or the GOG library I have, or Epic Games, those free games. I have tons of games to play. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only thing I don't have is time to play all the games I have.
Yeah.
So when I hear people complain, when I hear people bitch and complain, I'm like, I don't understand that shit. But that's just me. You have any thoughts on it before we move on to the end the cast to the end?
No, I'm good.
All right. So guess it's time to wrap things up. Anything you want to pimp out before we wrap things up, sir?
No. Oh yeah. Sorry. Project Console at 2 on Tuesdays at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you guys there. And enjoy Starfield if you're playing it early. Hopefully it's halfway decent.
Hopefully it's halfway decent. It should be. Microsoft put a lot of money to keep it from being a buggy piece of shit, so hopefully their money was well spent. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. Thank you for joining us on the cast. We went a little bit over an hour because we got started a little bit early. Thank you for joining us. This is Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor BS Busters. We have the podcast every Wednesday. 7:30 p.m. to typically go to 8, but yeah, we're in a little bit early today. So thank you for joining us. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, play your games, and be more discerning. That's my advice. Be more critical of things. Look at how is this benefiting them, and am I holding these companies accountable for the products they're putting out? That being said, that's the end of the podcast. Peace, good night, and